Anyway, we should be live.
Ooh.
Hopefully everyone can see and hear us. So let's see who we've got in chat. So, hey Mikey, hey Ellie, hey Jack, hey Lewis, hey John, hey Jackson, hey Emma, hey Mark and Victoria, hey Live the Real World. Hopefully some more people will join as well. Yes, well tonight we're joined by Loulabelle's Jungle.
Hello.
So, is your first time perhaps on something on YouTube, is it maybe?
First time on YouTube and first time going live with anyone.
Well, hey Sharon. Well, for those people who don't know who what you do, who are you and what do you do?
Oh, sorry, I'm just turning my volume up a wee bit. Just block camera. I'm Louise of Loulabelle's Jungle, so I do animal education based in conservation and also animal husbandry and welfare. So I've worked at a rescue previously, as well as at an exotic animal rescue, where I learnt a heap of new skills, and I've transferred that across to running my own business now.
Fantastic. Well, hey Moon, hey Kathy. So, where did the name Loulabelle's sort of come from then? I guess it's part of your name, it was loosely kind of from your name and then perhaps some other things maybe.
Yes, one of my first jobs when I moved from Scotland to England was at a call centre, and everyone kept comparing me to a Disney princess. So my boss at the time nicknamed me Loulabelle, and it's stuck ever since. And yeah, I had Loulabelle shoes at one point where I was hand painting Converse at university as a little side hustle, and I was like, oh well, that's a good name for my social media and that, and then it's just grown into my business name as well. So it's come with me.
Fantastic. What I'm going to do is start putting your links down in chat. So when it comes to sort of social media, am I saying that your main sort of focus is TikTok?
It is, yes. TikTok and Instagram are my main social medias, but I'm slowly transferring things across to YouTube as well, because
it's one of those things where we tend to gravitate to one thing in particular. So like I've gravitated to more YouTube than TikTok. I haven't been on TikTok for a while, if I'm honest. So I need to do more on there. I concentrate more heavily on YouTube, and some people obviously concentrate more heavily on Instagram and stuff. So why TikTok? Why was that the platform you kind of gravitate towards?
I started TikTok ironically during lockdown, as most people did, and I was just posting funny videos of my animals, and then it started taking off a little bit, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm getting a little bit of an audience. I can move into my animal education on there as well, and yeah, I've just stuck since. And I always found YouTube a little bit daunting, so that's why I've put it off for so long. But now the TikTok community is not as amazing as it used to be. I'm finding myself moving over now.
Yeah, and I've heard that from a few people. Jackson now mod Jackson. Hey Diana. A few people sort of said that they've sort of started transferring away from TikTok a bit.
Yeah.
Coming over to the YouTube side of things a bit more, where it's obviously YouTube's more sort of that long form content as compared to the short form. Although YouTube now does shorts as well, so it kind of was like obviously got a bit threatened and stuff like that. Perhaps we need to start doing 15-second videos as well as kind of the long sort of side of things. So like, yeah, from my point of view, whenever I've tried to do some, TikToks with a bit more in it, it's really hard to sometimes for me to get the information out in 15 seconds. It's like sort of thing. So like most of mine is just a bit of music and like, hey, here's an animal.
It's a really cute thing.
Sort of it. That's it. Obviously they brought out like slightly longer videos on TikTok and stuff, but even then it's like trying to get everything down in like such a short space of time is like really difficult.
They don't push the longer videos either, because I find that I've wanted to go more in depth, and I'm just like, oh, I'll make a 3-minute video and it doesn't get seen at all. And I'm like, oh, okay.
It's probably as a bit like usually I suppose similar way of that. Educational things again don't get pushed as much.
Yeah,
I think the sensationalist stuff, will always get pushed more.
Yeah,
whether it be on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. I get, you probably find, because yeah, I mean the videos I've seen. I've also, one reason that I wanted to have you on is that you put out good quality information.
Oh, thank you.
As I did see, the, I'm talking about the spider bite.
Yeah.
So, one of the more recent ones, I'm like, no, this is an allergic reaction. And he's like, totally spot on and stuff. But that perhaps won't get seen as much as someone going like, oh my god, look what happens if you get bitten by a spider, kind of thing. Unfortunately. And stuff, and it's, yeah, certainly you do see that. Sometimes with the short form, even on YouTube, sometimes the ones that really sort of get the traction are the ones that aren't educational.
Yeah. It's a shame because the animals we've got are so interesting and amazing. So you'd think it would catch attention, but unfortunately gets shoved under.
Yeah. Yeah. It does, unfortunately. But what Diana has actually asked, so first of all, she has actually asked, what do you keep? So what sort of animals do you keep? You've got quite a variety of animals as well.
Yes, I don't specialize in anything really. I've got a variety of things. So I've got, from like a horse, I've got 2 indoor cats. They're my normal animals. I've got poison dart frogs. I'm looking behind me for inspiration here. Like tree frogs, crested gecko, royal python. I've got, there goes one of the whites. He knows I'm speaking about him.
I mean,
it's Nacho. Are you finished? Thank you. I've got tarantulas, scorpions, blue feigning death beetles, flower beetles, a leech, whip scorpion, crabs, parrots, and a boa. I think that covers most of the things. Oh, millipedes as well. I always miss some of them out, but I've got a variety.
We always do. And so, like, whenever someone asks me for this, I always, end up forgetting at least one species or whatever. So,
and when you've got short-lived inverts as well, it changes so frequently. So
yeah, if you got one, yeah, especially like sticking sets of mantis, that some of them only live a year. Sort of thing. Like, and if you haven't bred it or whatever, it's like suddenly it's changed, and I'm like, oh, sort of thing. And then even sometimes with like species revisions and stuff, like with scorpions, so many scorpions have now been revised.
Yeah.
And stuff, and then oh, actually, I don't have that species. It's this species instead. And stuff. That's an interesting one now, because yeah, I'm actually part of a small group of people trying to ID scorpions as best as we can for the UK. It's a bit of a mission sometimes. I think so many of them come in unidentified.
Yeah.
So, no worries, Diana. So, well, how did you sort of get into animal keeping, and especially sort of exotics?
Well, it's animal keeping in general. I've had animals my whole life, and when I was a teenager, I ended up rescuing things like seagulls. I've had corvids and all sorts. And then I got with my fiance 12 years ago now, and he had a leopard gecko. And she's still going strong. She's doing well, bless her. And I've always wanted reptiles, but my mum was phobic of snakes and wasn't keen on the idea. So as soon as I moved out, I was like, "Ooh, I'm going to get a reptile myself." So I got a crested gecko, and then my collection just boomed. And I'm surrounded and love it.
That's fantastic. And then, how did you come to sort of start working with him at the rescue? You said you worked at an exotic animal rescue. How did that sort of come about?
I saw it advertised, and I was working at Millet's Outdoor Shop. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was working there, fitting boots and that for mountaineering and that. So I'm a keen mountaineer. And I was getting to the point that it was during COVID, and people got absolutely horrific during COVID, customers. So I was like, for my own sanity, I need to get out of retail, and I'm going to do it this time. So I studied zoology alongside working. And as soon as that job came up and I passed my driving, I was like, I can go for it. I can go. Let's go. So then I ended up working there, and it was a fantastic job. It's just a shame about the people that ran it. So I ended up leaving there for a various number of reasons.
That's fair enough. Unfortunately, yeah, every industry there's the bad managers at any industry. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I'm very lucky where I work. I've got some very good directors.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So, that's good work. So, is that then when Loulabelle's Jungle kind of started? Then when was you there, or had you left when you sort of started?
I did something I always said I would never do. I left a job before I had a job lined up, but they drove me that much into the ground that I couldn't keep going there. I loved the job. The job was my dream and it was amazing. But my other half went, you need to get out there now. So I ended up leaving without a job, and animal education has always been a passion of mine. So I was like, do you know what? Screw it. I'm going to start my own company. What better time to go for it? So I got a small loan out and built up things to how I needed it. Got advertisement, well, on that side, and uniforms and stuff. And I was like, right, let's go for it. Got my license. Let's go. So I just needed the confidence in myself to go for it and do it. So here we are.
Well, that's fantastic. So when you say license, I'm going to say it's the AAL, the Animals and Activities License that you got. Was that an interesting thing to get hold of? Because everyone that's got it has an AAL story sort of thing.
It was hellish. Thankfully, the gentleman who actually does the AAL, he's absolutely lovely. He's so nice and so supportive. And he was messaging me the whole way through, but actually figuring out at the beginning what I had to do to get set up was a nightmare. There's nothing out there setting it out for what you've got to do. So it's why, again, on my TikTok, I documented part of the process, and I was like, oh, we're doing this now. Oh, we're doing that. So if anyone else wanted to go out and do it, they kind of had an idea of how to get through to it. But the paperwork took over a year for me to complete because I was doing it from scratch, and I was like, oh, there's so much health and safety, and I'm rubbish with health and safety.
Yeah, no, it is. Paperwork's not my thing. I can't stand paperwork and stuff. I struggle doing paperwork all the time. I'm like, give me animals to muck out any day.
Yeah.
Thing. But like my parents, they've got friends Leah and Terry, who hopefully I'll maybe watching. They're not in chat at the moment. Unusual Pets. They're currently filling in for their AAL and stuff.
Bless them. I'm sorry, guys.
And because they're in Wales, it's very, very different to England and stuff. Because their council isn't even going to inspect them, which is like what sort of thing.
Wow.
They're just like no, not required. I'm like okay. And stuff. I was like, oh yeah, want to do this for your inspection? They're like, oh no, our council stopped going to inspect us. I'm like, okay, that's just the Welsh law.
It blows my mind too, because even those doing the licensing, they're behind with the current literature. Because I'd shown him my Royal Python. He was like, oh, that's a bigger enclosure than I expected. It's only 4x2x2. We're upgrading it. And he was like, oh no, this should be in smaller spaces. It stresses them out. And I was like, nope. Yeah. And I handed him the IHS booklet, and I was like, here you go, take that away with you. Have a read. So
great. Yeah, again, like with my parents, what helped with them is that I was able to give them a whole bunch of like Biasa stuff and like here's what we say in Biasa zoos sort of thing. And so but then they're like they're expecting like, oh okay sort of thing. Because sometimes they're either behind on it or they're too zealous in some of it. I know someone who literally literally went out whilst they were there.
Oh wow!
And so, just decided not to work, and then they're like, "Oh, you need to just change that now." Like, and they're like, "That'll be all right for a few hours. Ain't gonna cause some harm." And they were actually training the inspectors at a college that trained inspectors, and they were like being overzealous and like, "No, real life situation. This can happen."
Maybe they're upset about a grade that they got from the college, and they're just like, "I'm getting back at you."
But this is the thing, and this is the thing that comes down to, obviously every council's different, and interpretations of the legislation and literature can be different and stuff. And then where you get the sort of the folklore husbandry aspect into it. Oh yeah, a raw python needs to be in a small enclosure because they only live in a termite mound on the thing. And you're like, hi. So for that, then even the inspectors side of it. But lucky enough, a lot of it's coming down from zoo licensing a little bit because it's only recently, 2019, I think, they got put into zoo licensing of enclosure sizes for snakes, being that it needs to be at least as big as a snake, and that they need UV. So
yeah,
it was only 2019 that we managed to get that in zoo licensing. So that's why it then takes time to obviously get down to that. Then like AAL, which was a good thing coming, but it was rushed.
Yeah,
it was very very rushed in. We needed it, but they should have done it a little bit slower to have done all the shops and every single private person doing animal education.
Yeah,
a bit extreme to do all within 1 year.
Change now.
Kind of thing. That was a bit extreme, but I think everyone's got their own AL story. And stuff especially from their first inspection. Like my parents' one was that their inspector was concerned about they had enclosures of cockroaches.
Oh.
And that was it. I was like, you've got cockroaches? No, yeah. But then you don't need to see them because they're exempt from the license. Stuff. And like, she's like, I can't pass anyone with a cockroach because she was a kitchen inspector. So things like, I need to fail people that got cockroaches. Sort of things like, no, these are different.
This is a grey area. Help. No, it's madness. Absolute madness. I thought it would be more enclosure based as well than it was health and safety, and like basically I had to tell them what my will was for my animals. So I was just like, right, who's have my animals if I die?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I don't think my parents got asked that one. So when it came to the AAL.
But I got told with my inverts originally they weren't on the AAL, but he still wanted to check them whilst he was here. I don't know if he was just like, ooh, what's that? Or
probably just doing that, yeah. I mean, my parents show like their inspector, everything. They're like, and they say, like, I know these aren't part of it. I just want to have a look at them because they're interested. Not something they see every day.
Yeah, I reckon they should be on the license though, personally, but that's another story.
Yeah, this thing, inverts. Yeah, people don't care about them often.
Poor thing.
Harry. Inverts aren't on the AL license or the Animal Activities license.
They've actually named my ambassadors that are invertebrates. They've actually named them on my certificate though, which has confused me even further.
Oh wow! So,
yeah. So I can't even change them out anymore.
Yeah, that's going to confuse me. But hey, Thomas. Thomas Hanson, The Rock. He's hosting the very next show that's coming up, the Great Ant Exhibition up in Sheffield, which I believe we're both going to.
Yes, I can't wait.
So I've got a stall there. So I've got to go. And actually, Thomas, you'll probably like one of my pickups from yesterday. I'm not announcing what it is on here, but I think you'll like them. Just gives you a bit of a clue of what it might be. So, hey, Christopher. So, but you got your license.
Yes.
And stuff, which is the main thing. So I'm guessing with that, you're doing things like birthday parties, school visits, things like that.
I'm starting off with doing mainly education schools. I'm doing a couple of care homes, clubs, things like that. But until I've got another member of staff with me, I'm a bit iffy about doing parties because I've heard horror stories of people get invited just to some random dude's house and it being a bit weird. So I'm waiting until I've got enough revenue to then get another member of staff. Other than that, I will be doing parties, hopefully, alongside my other job where I work with horses. So he wants to do like parties up there with the horses, but he doesn't know how to fill the day. So it's like, oh, if I collab with you. So I've got like a guaranteed income coming in then as well, which would be quite nice. And he's got a setup where I can plug all the enclosures in and make sure they've got heating and everything. So it'll be quite good, I reckon. Really nice.
That's cool. Yeah. It's what whereas I've done parties, it's definitely always best to have two of you, sort of thing. I can't say we've ever had any horrors. We've always had good, it's always been good and stuff. But
Yeah.
probably best that there's always two anyway, just in case with the
Yeah.
things and stuff. And they always do that with when it comes to schools or when it comes to displays and stuff. And so because they often do weekend displays with animals and
Yeah.
stuff at country shows and stuff. So that's what, and then also doing the talks and things.
Yeah.
So that's what. So yeah, the animals that you're taking out, I'm guessing are sort of primarily the reptiles and
Yes.
and the inverts. I'm guessing not the tree frogs probably. In the
Um,
wild, or do you take those out?
Nacho will be coming with me, but not getting handled. It's
Yeah.
more of a visual thing. I've got a set of animals that can be handled, things like the royals and stuff. And then I've got animals which are for display, which will be like my white tree frog, my scorpions, and my tarantulas. They're not handling those either. But I'm trying to convince my fiance. I'm working really hard to try and get a skunk. I'm really trying.
They're very cool animals. We used to have them here at the park here.
They're adorable. They really are so cute.
Very cool. They don't just stink all the time, like people think. Like they will spray. And ours did well. One of us sprayed really only once, and it's because someone was an idiot. And when it did spray, that did stink. That was bad. That was bad.
Oh, yeah. The only issue I'm trying to get around with my other half is we've got a home is currently rented, so it's just like, what if it sprays in the house? And I'm just like, we'll cover it somehow, I'm sure. don't annoy it, and we won't have an issue.
I mean, that's what it comes down to, really. Yeah, these were hand-reared ones, and someone completely scared the bejesus out of one of them. So what's it going to do? It's going to spray. So not enough it was outside, but that area stunk for a good week or so outside.
Oh, nice.
And you knew when you walked past, oh yeah, this is where this sprayed. It was, hey Mark. But I say that was the only time. I think I only ever sprayed once, and that was the only time. Otherwise, they were fantastic animals. Really
I'm hoping, touch wood, that we never have to deal with spraying if we do get one. Another animal we're looking at is a hedgehog as well, because I think it's something everyone will be like, oh, that's adorable, and I've wanted one as well, so it ticks both boxes.
Definitely. So you sound like an African pygmy hedgehog.
Yes, yeah, because I've worked with them before and I absolutely love them. I think they're adorable. But...
They are cool, and they're quite a good one, obviously, to then talk about our native hedgehog.
Yes, yeah,
and stuff. So it's always a good sort of ambassador species for that sort of thing and stuff. Like, again, we used to have them here at the park. The park does a lot of work with native hedgehogs. So we have our own little rehab centre for them and stuff. So they used to use African pygmies for sort of bridging the gap kind of thing. And like, you can see this one because you don't want to see the ones that are in here that are, we're trying to rehab and stuff and are ill and stuff. But you can see this one and stuff. And great because a lot of people don't actually. Well, I think it was the hedgehog is like the UK's favourite mammal or something. I think.
Yeah.
It was often voted our favourite animal. Yeah, we don't actually see them that often nowadays.
No. I remember as a kid because my mum built me basically a shed in the back garden, which I chose to live in because I was a bit feral as a child, and I accidentally one drunken night smashed the bottom window, and we had a hedgehog that used to come in. I used to give him a bit of food, and he'd wander off again. And then I think he must have told his mates because I had quite a few coming in and out. Nice. And I've got a few photos of me just with this like hedgehogs, just like I've got friends.
That's awesome. So I mean, frogs and stuff in the garden. So that's good. Then so when you're looking at sort of species and stuff, and how you sort of set up your species. Obviously, we can sort of see behind you got Viz and the large Exoterra and stuff set up fairly naturalistically.
Yes.
Is that something that you always aim for?
Yes, I'm very passionate about bioactive. I think most of my enclosures are fully bioactive because I absolutely love it, and I find my animals seem to thrive and show better behaviours in them as well. It's, I always say, because my other half liked more of a modern kind of look with his enclosures, and I was like, if you can't see the animals, they're happy. And he's like, yeah, but I want to look at them. I'm like, no, if you can't see them, they're happy. Leave them to hide. So
there's often the case with a lot of the animals that we keep sometimes. Oh, hey, Leah. So is especially when it comes to certain reptiles and arachnids and stuff. It's often if you see them, they're probably not doing too good.
no,
So they're not too happy. So I mean, a lot of them do live either down burrows in the wild or whatever, or are nocturnal and stuff. So I think we perhaps shouldn't be seeing them all the time. So it's something that often sometimes people don't think about too much. So when it comes to designing your own, are there any particular sort of resources that you use when trying to design the inside of an enclosure?
I do like to look up the natural habitats and whether it's scrubland, tropical, or whichever, and what type of plants thrive in those conditions, and what I try and go for preferably what's native there. But if the plants are too big or not sustainable in a small environment, I go for closer kind of options. And I love making my own background as well, so I tend to make most of my own backgrounds. And I just heavily plan. I go out foraging for branches and moss as well, and try and do it as cheap as I possibly can, because going fully by active can end up costing quite a bit. But I'll also use resources. I've got my own like jungle growing in this living room, so I take a lot of cuttings and I'll make use of those as well to save a bit of money. So it's bioactive on a budget.
I mean, it doesn't have to be expensive. Something that I've said, even though when Dave's little beasties on his G says all the time as well, we both come from very similar backgrounds of zookeeping and stuff, where it's like, just go and collect the stuff outside and stick it in the enclosures is fine. And so, especially when it comes to leaf litter and leaf mulch and stuff, go and collect it, sort of thing. And again, branches of moss and stuff, like, because some of the moss out there is damn expensive.
They charge a fortune.
I've seen some bits like, I've seen ones of like the IHS shows. Sometimes there was a stand. I haven't seen it for a few years. Well, since it moved from Donny, but like we'd have a little, just little pot like that, and then a tiny speck of moss in there. It'd be £100. So I'm like, what? Who's buying that? Who's paying £100 for a tiny bit of moss? But someone will, mainly the dark frog community, because they love their expensive moss sometimes.
Yeah.
Expensive plants, but it's sort of like, we don't need to. And I think that's sometimes what scares people away from life planted and sort of bioactive and stuff. They think, oh my god, it's going to cost a fortune, and they realise that actually, your drainage layer and substrate mesh can be got from the garden centre for less than half the price.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be Reptile branded, because that's just normally just repackaged anyway.
Yeah.
So, substrate you can mix up yourself.
It's same with equestrian stuff. If you put equestrian in front of something, it becomes 10 times the price. It's like Carawelli's becomes £200 from 20 quid, and you're like, how?
Yeah.
It's same for reptiles.
But it's any industry that like money can be made. It's the same the zoo industry and stuff. Like with a lot of feeds and stuff. Suddenly, it's the zoo food. It's this, and like that's just guinea pig food. Like what are you on about and stuff. But it gets a lot of people, especially if they're new to the industry and they're like, we have to use this stuff that's branded for this. No, you don't.
No.
So the only things, like, especially when it comes to reptiles, the only things I really hard on about, like, this you need to buy reptile branded is UV lights. That sort of thing. Like, I know there's certain brands and stuff, but otherwise, and like everything else, you can get far cheaper from pretty much anywhere else. Hey, Susan. So, especially when it comes to natural decor of branches and stuff. Go out to the forest and get some prices.
We do enough hiking. In fact, my friends always laugh at me because I've got a backpack for my snacks and that, and then I've got a bag inside that backpack for foraging. And I'm just like, I like that branch. Ooh, that rock's nice. So I end up carrying like a bag of rocks down the side of a mountain. I'm like, it's fine, I'm all right.
Literally doing that similar myself. So it was on the way. I think the first Manchester show. We stopped off somewhere for basically to have a walk, in the Pennine somewhere or whatever. And literally I was filling. I forgot to take it back, so I was just filling my pockets full of moss. Being like, oh my god, this is awesome moss. I mean this moss. So they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm getting moss. I need some moss for my enclosures.
We've got amazing woodlands down next to the canal near where I live, and literally it comes off like in a perfect carpet. So you literally roll it up and it's bliss. It's so nice.
And that exact moss will be at a show sold for 20 quid.
Yes. Yeah.
Sort of thing in a poly box. Sort of
and it thrives as well. It does so well in the enclosures. So every summer I go down and collect a sheet of moss.
Oh yeah, got to be done. Yeah, I've got a big bag full of moss from the woodland near my parents, and then I've actually now started scouring the park around because now it's all starting to come up. There's moss everywhere around the park. I'm like, right, where can I collect from before they destroy it? So the ground seem to go around and destroy it, or I'll collect all this because they're just going to get rid of it anyway.
Yeah.
And some of it's fantastic stuff. I mean, I've found some moss in one of our gutters that I gave to my candy pill bugs, my Carnifex, which I absolutely love. Absolutely love. So I started dishing that around to people that I knew with similar species of pill bugs and be like, try this.
I keep looking at all the different isopods and pill bugs and that, and they do look so amazing, but they can get quite expensive as well. And I'm so scared that because they are dinky that I'll end up killing them off accidentally.
Some of them do, yeah.
And some can be fragile.
Yes.
And it's I've got a breeding colony of your bog standard tropical like greys and the oranges and that and dwarf whites. But I'm just like, oh, am I out of my depth with going for the more exotic isopods yet?
So some of them are super simple. So things like some of the Armadillidium species are as simple. Like Armadillidium klugi are really simple.
Yeah.
They're colourful. Gestroi, really simple and colourful.
Yeah.
And stuff, which is they're kind of good ones to, and even Maculatum, the zebra ones, they're quite good as well.
Yeah.
So like the forage into the, not quite exotic, but a bit more than like Eulavis and stuff.
Yeah.
It's when you start going into Cabarrus, and then it's a whole other ball game.
Yeah.
Stuff, and then constantly going like, oh my god, what have I done something wrong? Sort of thing.
It's I look online. I was researching into them. I was like, oh, I like that one. Oh, okay, that one's easy to kill. Maybe not yet. I'll get a bit more education behind me before I go for it. I'm like,
every time I look into my rubber ducky tub, it's always like, are they going to be alive? Are they going to be alive?
That's one of the species that I looked at. I was like, oh, they're adorable. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, they do stress you out sometimes because they love to bury. So sometimes you don't see them, like, oh no, where are they? You instantly forget they bury. They love to bury themselves. So you're just like, I can't find them, I can't see them. And also you don't want to disturb too much because otherwise that knocks them off.
Yeah.
So it's like again that fine balance of leaving them alone to get on with it and checking on them sometimes.
I've got a tarantula that ended up burying himself for like 2 years, and that was enough. I was like, please emerge, I need to feed it. I was putting food in and it was getting taken, but I was like, are you still there? Are you still okay? And then he came out molted and he's never gone back down again.
What's that? Is that Echinobrachys or something? What?
My brain's gone blank. I just went, his name's Aragog. Where is he? Gramstyle Pulchripes.
Pulchripes.
He's a mature male now. I keep thinking of sending him out for a lady, but I get too attached, and the thought of him getting eaten breaks my heart. So I want to breed my tarantulas, but the only issue that I've got with it is I get really attached to my animals.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. There's, and for some people that aren't, don't keep the animals that we keep, sometimes don't get it. But our tarantulas, especially if we raise them from a sting, you've then had them years.
Most of mine are raised.
Sort of thing. So you're going to get attached to them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've got a mature male, well, 2 mature male LPs.
Yeah.
And I've sent them off anyway. One of them was one of my first ones that I reared from a sling. So I was like, I ain't getting rid of him. Sort of thing. It's been a mature male for 2 years, maybe even 3 years now.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, they're still going strong.
He's too into maturity as well.
And stuff. And and same one of my other ones matured out probably about a year ago now. And so I was like, yeah, you want to go there. One, they're LP, so arguably don't need more than being bred just yet. Sort of thing, because the amount they have in one go. But also, I was like, now these ones that I rear from Sting that that's kind of mine. Some mature males I don't mind like giving to other people to see what they can do with them, but these are like, no, they're saying here, sort of thing. There's and then one of my Hamori just recently matured out as a male, so I'm going to sit. I think my one's a female, so I might try and breed those two together and see what happens. And the male one was a rehome case of someone that because of her own health couldn't look after him anymore.
Yeah.
So just wanted him rehomed out as well. All her spiders. There's only 4 spiders in it, but all her, what was it, about 11 royal pythons as well as hognose and tortoises, which my parents took.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, we'll have the lot and we'll give you some money for them, because she was like, I know you can just have them all. But like, well, no, this is a lot of animals that you're giving to us.
A lot of animals, yeah.
And so it was, which included an Indian star tortoise. It was like, don't come across those very often.
No.
Sort of thing. And stuff, but it was purely that she had no one to well, her husband wasn't interested in them, and her memory was getting the better of her.
Oh, bless her.
She couldn't quite remember everything now.
Yeah.
So it was quite a hard one, because she clearly loved them and stuff and didn't really want to get rid of them, but she was like, it's the better for the animals.
It's proof that she loved them, the fact that she made that tough decision.
That's it, because was it her? Yeah, her son kept reptiles, but she was very much, she didn't have them naturalistic, but she wanted them in vivs and with space and stuff. And it was like, no, he went, no, if I take them, they're going to go in plastic tubs, and you won't want that.
No, yeah.
Sort of thing. Like, no, I don't want them to go in plastic tubs. Sort of thing.
Bless
and
her.
Stuff. So at least, I think that's why at least he, kind of said, well, you wouldn't want me to have them because I'm going to do this. Sort of thing. So they, end up at my parents. So I was been into on TikTok, Instagram's having, your TikTok sort of exploded. Well, to me, you kind of, and that's where I kind of found out about you. Sort of purely, via TikTok and stuff. For anyone who perhaps hasn't gone there or perhaps is thinking of checking on there, what are the sort of videos that you put up on there?
It's a bit of a mixture. It's just basically showing day-to-day life with all my animals. I do a few educational bits and bobs on there as well. My horse does quite a bit on there because he's very talkative and people love Max. But I do try and keep a good balance of the educational stuff on there as well. So it's just day-to-day things that I come across. For example, I took on a rescue case of 15 tarantulas recently. And one of them had a fungal infection, so I was showing how we would treat it here, because unfortunately there's limited information out there on treatment.
Did you contact, I don't know if you're aware of them, the Veterinary Invertebrate Society at all?
No, I didn't. No, I
wasn't aware of them. I'll send you a link to Benjamin. Actually, Benjamin Kelly, he's an invert vet.
Yeah. Fab.
I've had him on a couple of times on stream. There's not a lot known sort of thing, but he's someone that's actively trying to find out stuff.
Yeah.
And actively looking at, things like like fungal issues and stuff, and how we potentially can treat fungal issues in the invertebrates.
Yeah.
And he's treated stick insects for fungal diseases.
That's insane.
And presented it at a conference, and he was like, he treated Macleays and black beauties for fungal issues. He was like, okay, these are common species, or well, common in captivity, because black beauties are actually critically endangered in the wild, but common in captivity. But why would I do this? But I was like, well, actually, then be really useful for Lord Howe Island stick insects kind of thing, and our endangered species that we sometimes have. And he's doing a few things with tarantulas as well. Hey, Crows. Hey, Russell. I have to check them out. I think that they're on Facebook. I know he's mentioned recently he's always in the process of sort of setting up a website for himself, where people can like contact for about things with inverts. Mikey has asked, what morph is the royal python behind you?
Super butter pastel. I'll get her out actually because she's so sweet. Because she'll be waking up in a minute. This is her usual time. Hello, sweetie. Are you coming? She's literally just shed 2 days ago as well. Hi, Baba. Oh, I'm taking your moss with me, aren't I? You go say hello.
Very cool.
You go say hi. There we go. And she's a big softie. We've had 3-year-olds just go in and pick her up, and she's just the sweetest thing ever. Aren't you?
No worries, dads. No worries, Thomas here in a bit. Hey, Stefan. So, gotta love a raw wife. They are good for handling. Often pretty good and pretty solid.
Yeah. I know they're one of the more boring species, but she was my first, and I'm so attached to her. Other than my garter snake, he was one of my first as well. But, I'm glad I've got a boa now though, because she can be a finicky eater during winter, and she'll refuse a few feeds. So I can be like, "Hey, do you want to polish it off so it doesn't have to go to waste?"
So what boa do you have? Is it just a common boa?
Yes. What was the morph again? I got her off of, I don't know if you know, the Home Zoo.
Oh, I've heard of it. Yeah, Jamie. Yeah, I've heard of Jamie. Yeah.
Yeah, I got one of his babies when his girly Fluffy was pregnant with him, and I got to watch the birth live, which was amazing.
Oh yeah.
But she's such a sweetheart as well, because I've worked with rescue boas before, and they tended to be quite nippy when they came in through the rescue, so I didn't know what her temperament was going to be like, but she's an absolute sweetheart, so I'm really glad she's got that temperament, because she can then, when she gets a bit bigger, go out with me as well.
Yeah, I mean, boas are great, especially if they're handled from a young age and stuff. They're great. Okay, so actually, the only large snakes my parents have ever really had is regular boa imperators and stuff, just to be like, they don't get overly big, and so they still get a sort of nice manageable size. Don't they got one that can be temperamental at times. So it's very rarely that.
Yeah,
it's mainly just all noise anyway, kind of thing. Just
hissing.
Hissing. They go, okay, we'll leave it to it, sort of thing. Then the next time it'll be fine, sort of thing. So it's like working with the animal, sort of thing. So you can give signals like, no, I don't want to be disturbed today, and they're like, yeah, cool, we'll disturb you another day.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a job at the moment, because my dream animals aren't animals that would be ideal to have as educational animals. Because I almost homed, there was a carpet python at the rescue, and I loved him. He was attitudey. In fact, I've still got nerve damage because of that snake. But I had a proper soft spot for him. Also the green tree pythons, things like that, I was really into, but they're not ideal for kids to be sticking their hands in with.
No, not always. But I think that's the thing with any kind of when you're doing things, as a business, as having doing displays and educational shows and stuff, is then trying to realize, sometimes you got to have the animals that, got to think, well, this animal needs to be handled, it needs to be able to do this, that, the other, and stuff, and not have too many things that you can't, sort of thing. It's one of the things like for my parents, because there's a lot of things that like, well, we really love these species, but it's like, well, we've got to, still have, ones that, a few bearded dragons and a few raw pythons and a few of this sort of thing. So there's always stuff that people can handle.
Yeah.
Sort of thing, as well as stuff that people can't. Oh, hey, Max. So, that's the same with me as well. I'm looking at this year, kind of doing similar with just the inverts and stuff. And it's all like, well, if we're going to do that, I can't have too many fossorial tarantulas that no one's going to see. So the thing is all well and good to me. You're going like, oh, this is really nice, but chances are general public ain't going to care two hoops about that thing or whatever. It's because it's just a tub of dirt.
See, I'm using this as an excuse at the moment because my other half, he works at the university teaching forensics and he does toxicology. So we've managed to slip in a little bit about venoms and poisons in animals. So I'm getting to go in and I'm like, oh, I can take like my old worlds and stuff in with me. And I've got a reason to take them around with me and show them off.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting sort of subject matter as well. Yeah, with the venoms and stuff. Especially when it comes to, well, for me, the pharmaceutical use of venoms.
Yes. Yeah.
So, that was another one out because I don't know if you're aware of Venomtech. They're based down in Canada. Steve Trim's a good friend of mine, and he's been on a couple of times and talked about venom use and stuff in medicines and stuff, and it's always interesting because everyone always thinks about venom use as just being either kills you or it's used an antivenom, and not realizing that it's used in painkillers, it's used in diabetes drugs, it's used in vaccines and stuff, which is awesome, and including things like the T-Race tarantula. It's venom has a lot of use in our pharmaceuticals, which sometimes people don't realize. But Grace says a beautiful and brilliant snake to get people into handling snakes, which
she is. Aren't you? Hey.
So with your episodes, are they primarily ones that you go out and buy, or are they ones that you've rehomed, or is there a mixture?
It's a mixture. I don't tend to get from pet shops. I tend to either get from shows from breeders that I know quite well, or I've had a few rescue cases as well. She was a rehome for someone whose kid got bored, so I took her in when she was absolutely dinky. But I think it's probably about 50-50 rescue to what I've gotten from shows and stuff. So it's a good mix. But if I need a guaranteed temperament, I tend to get from shows and grow them up myself. Yep. It's like in the near future, I really want to get Chocowalla.
Nice. They're pretty epic, Chocowallas.
I love them. Everyone's like, you need a bearded dragon. You need a bearded dragon. I was like, I'm not getting a bearded dragon. I want something interesting. I love bearded dragons, but I want something different.
Beardies are cool. I really like. Finally, my parents actually, like the last Manchester show, finally got rankings.
Yeah. Oh.
Which for me are far better because they only get like half the size.
Yeah.
They're just as animal. They to me they're nicer looking. They've got a nicer patterning to them, sort of thing. And for me, I've always been like, why are these not more popular? Why are these not as popular or more popular than a beardie? Because these are far better, far more suitable to be kept kind of thing than a beardie. But rankings, the Henry Law side just have never been as popular for some reason.
No, it's boggling.
But they're absolutely awesome.
I think because bearded dragons are more heard of, so they instantly go straight to the bearded dragon. I know at the rescue we had a few rankings. They were because downstairs they had a pet shop where you could buy all the equipment and stuff, but they also used to get like buying animals for the pet shop section as well. So they had a few rankings, and I was like, look at these though, aren't they? These are amazing.
Yeah, that's it.
I try and
So,
steer them towards.
Russell's asked, what inverts have you got?
I've got a variety. I've got my tarantulas. I do. That's one I forgot. My jumping spider. I've got her. I've got whip scorpion. I've got desert scorpion. Forest scorpion, leech, millipedes, a few different beetles, crabs. Oh, snails,
Hermit
giant
crabs?
snails. I've got giant snails as well.
No.
Yeah.
The crabs, are they hermit crabs or vampire crabs?
Rainbow crabs.
Oh, rainbow crabs, nice.
We're trying to tame them down a little bit because they're very attitudey. So we think they might be for view only.
Yeah.
But they're hilarious.
I'm hoping to be getting a breeding group of purple vampire crabs soon, hopefully. Got a friend of mine, he's uprooting him and his family to go and live in the rainforest for a year.
Oh, fantastic.
Like literally, him, his wife, and his kids. They're leaving Cambridge to go and live in the Guyana rainforest for a year, literally in a tent in the middle of the rainforest.
That is amazing.
And so it's also because he's also going to be taking a lot of equipment to do a lot of sort of parameter sort of measurements and stuff. And so he's like, "What UVI readings do you want?" I was like, "All of them. Get me all the UVI readings. Get me all the humidity. Get me everything." Thing and stuff. And I'm totally not jealous of all the probably all the various inverts and reptiles and everything that he's going to see out there. Because he's completely going off the beaten track and stuff. But because he's like, Phil, because I'm going to be there, can you take on my vampire crabs? Because I need someone who can look after them for a year.
I might give you a shout if you get them breeding.
And so they're breeding group. So he's been breeding them. So hopefully I'll carry on breeding them.
That'd be really good.
Get him into the zoo here and carry on breeding them in the zoo. And then when he gets back, he plans to come back at some point anyway. But I think I'm going to go completely just live in the rainforest and that's it.
He's just done with it.
And then, when he comes back, we can. If he wanted them back, he'd have the tank back, and we'll just split some of the crabs off, sort of thing, and I'll keep some of the crabs and hopefully carry on breeding them.
That's a good payment for babysitting them, I'd say.
Well, that's it. That's it. If it was all like, "Oh, you can just keep them," and I was like, "Well, you may want them back," so there's the offer there. Sort of thing. Yeah, Rosie said that. Yeah, amazing. It will be an amazing experience. So I'm hoping that he'll actually come on live after he's been out there at some point and talk about his experiences out in the rainforest, because that'll certainly be something.
I'd like to say I'm jealous, but I'm too ginger to deal with heat. So
there'd be more the humidity out there as well. The heat and humidity just both of them.
I would collapse.
I work in tropical houses, and when it comes to summer, I'm like, "Oh, this is horrible." So, Scott says he needs more scorpions if anyone's selling. Me and Scott are both scorpion mad. So what are your sort of plans for 2023 in terms of Loulabelle's? Is it just
picking up the business, invest a bit more back into it, get myself some more animals? I'm limited to space at the moment because of my house. And then if things kick off, look at a member of staff and possibly a unit so I can open up in conjunction a rescue as well. So, because I knew with how lockdown was going, I knew there'd be a lot of rehome cases in the near future, and my suspicion's been proven. So
the NCRW pretty much been inundated with a lot of animals. And again, in this time of year, getting inundated again because of everyone buying animals for Christmas and stuff, and then people getting bored after Christmas. And so it's an unfortunate sort of thing of, again, pretty much any animal industry, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That happens. Obviously, the antis really, really play on it and stuff, but sometimes sometimes get a bit angry about the there is sometimes an element of truth in sometimes, or like unfortunately people do go out and
impulse
buy for Christmas presents for children and stuff, and then they're bored of it, bored of them within a month or so.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Unfortunately, that does still happen. So no matter what, and that's all animal industries, unfortunately, isn't it? Really, Christmas is almost every type of animal, but then like we've got Easter coming up, so suddenly everyone wants rabbits.
Yeah.
And that'll be the sort of the big thing. And obviously, when certain films come out and stuff, is sort of like I know the reptile house has certainly learned from the aquatic side of things of what happened with clownfish and started putting out warnings before certain films come like about turtles and stuff, and they're like, here's our don't go sort of stocking all these turtles and selling these turtles to just anyone.
I'm just wondering where she's off to. Where are you? Hello.
Go for an explore.
I was like, she's tightening around me. Where's she off to?
As well, something that, I see here, a lot where people, they think they want animals, and if they're not actual real animal people and know just what you have to sometimes sacrifice to keep animals.
Yeah, so, that's it. People love the status and the idea of having animals. It's the same as parrots, and they realise once they've gotten into it, they're out of their depth or they can't be bothered. And animals are hard work. The reptiles inverts not so much as things like parrots and horses, but they are still. You've got to be there and look after them. It's not just a case put them there and just leave them to it for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Where, when in some ways, that's where like sometimes tarantulas make sometimes the perfect pets because they only need sort of looking at them like once a week, sometimes, and stuff, and not constant sort of care. But even then, people just get bored of them because like, we only see this out, or in the case of your polka-peas, only see it once every 2 years.
I'm so lucky. I think Sheila, my Ageniculata, she's like the perfect tarantula, I think, for beginners, as long as you don't want to handle her. She's proper attitudey. But it's like she's got a toy ball in with her and she regularly plays with it. It's just like a little cat ball with a bell in the middle. Yep. And she carries it around and jingles it and like loves playing around with it. And she's just interesting to watch. But she's only one of my tarantulas that will actually interact with things like that. So I've trialed a few of the others. But so it's just little stuff like that.
That's brilliant. Russell's asked, is that a Cressy tank behind you?
Yes.
Sure, you saw his head poking out the coconut, and his loves to do that too.
Oh yeah, it's his favourite spot. That's Darwin, my crested gecko. He's fantastic. He goes through stages of being a bit feral. Sometimes he's the loveliest thing. He'll sit on my knee and watch Bake Off with me, or he's just like absolutely nuts and bounces everywhere. So I'm trying to get him down to a nice level where he can just sit there and be calm, because I can't have him throwing himself at kids' faces. So I don't think it'll go down very well.
No, Cresties love to be kamikaze like that. Sometimes it's just they're literally just sitting there low, and then all of a sudden they're off and up away. Sort of thing. And then when they get like, the jumps, the thing just start leaping just everywhere. And you're like, oh my god.
I find it hilarious though when I have people over and they're like, oh, the crested gecko, and because I'm so used to them, and you can tell when they're going to jump, I just like catch them there like Matrix style. And they're like, whoa.
Yeah. Well, James says now shop near him that sells skunks, sugar gliders, all sorts of small exotic mammals and bats. It makes him worried. It make me worried too, actually. Then all that lot. So because unfortunately people bats take a lot of looking after.
That was my main red flag.
The general household can't really cater for a bat. I mean, I'm guessing it'll be something like an Egyptian fruit bat, which we have here at the park, but like, I wouldn't want one up here in my flat. I think they're amazing, but they're not really something for the general household.
God, no. I know someone who rescues and rehabs them, and she's always said they're a job and a half. and she doesn't recommend them as a normal pet for most people.
No, well, then again, it's probably one of those things where, when it goes back to the two sides of social media again, where you got the side that really kind of exposing goes viral, which is sometimes a really kind of uneducational. Oh, look at this really cute bat. Doing this at the and people go, "Oh my god, that's so cute! I want one." Versus someone you perhaps be like, "Yeah, no, this is the reality of what bats are nice and cute. They're fantastic, but not suitable." Sort of thing, and obviously you get them, and then we've also seen to say like with parrots.
Yeah, it's a trend at the moment with parrots.
For years and years, you'll get like, parrots can be really, really cute. They can do this, that, the other, but also they're destructive.
They're assholes.
Thing, and they live a hell of a long time.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. It's one of those things where with these sorts of animals, people don't realise just how long they can live.
Yeah.
They think like, oh, it's only going to be, only 5 or 10 years. And it's like, well, no, parrot, you're talking like 50 years sometimes longer for some species. With was it the mental age of like a toddler or something?
Yes. Yeah.
It's like, can you deal with a toddler for 50 years?
With the hormones of a teenager.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how
you're only liking one person.
Yeah. It's even like Cobalt. I hand reared her through the rescue, and she can be such a cowbag. I love her to bits, and I wouldn't change her for the world. But at home, it's her territory. She won't think twice about taking a chunk out of me, and you can't react. You can't react to it. You've got to, because reaction, it becomes a game to them.
Yeah, you react. You're reinforcing that behaviour.
Mm.
And then suddenly like, oh, that was fun because that guy.
You made a noise.
You made a noise. You made a scream. Oh, that was fun. Now I'll do it again.
And she starts laughing when she does it as well. She's like, and I'm like, no, don't laugh. It's not funny.
So, Jason just said his girlfriend's cockatoo is the worst, always screaming like a dinosaur.
They are noisy. They're so noisy.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people don't realise with those sort of animals. Is that they are just so noisy.
Yeah.
Will just destroy your furniture potentially if they're animal. And the standard parrot cage isn't big enough.
No, ours get free flight for most of the day around the bird room, which is also our bedroom. Not the best choice, but we've got sheets everywhere.
Just in case.
Yeah, so, they are messy as well.
Yeah, and that's something that sometimes people don't take into consideration, sort of either. What's up with it? So, hey Matt, just thought it's cute though, and loves it very much. Pretty sure they wants to kill him, sort of thing. So, Diana's asked, "Do you have any stick insects?"
I don't currently know. I have had a couple of leaf stick insects, the bigger variety, but I got them as adults in the hope that they would breed before they popped the clogs, but they didn't, because I literally had them. I didn't know the age of them when I got them. He was selling them off, so I got them, I think, right next to the end of their life cycle. So didn't get a chance, unfortunately. But that might be one for the Sheffield show if they've got plenty.
Trying to figure who's going to be. I know, but I'll be there. I'll probably have some stick insects with me.
Ooh.
Some Gaias and orange wings fly, so they're no good for handling. But they're really cool. They're cool. But I've cut down on my phasmids a lot because it just got so annoying for me. I had a huge enclosure with probably a good 2,000 odd budwing stick insects in it. And every time I opened the enclosure to change the brand, I just had stick insects everywhere, and I was like, "This is just getting too overboard." And so, no matter how many I got rid of, it didn't seem to make a dent and stuff. And I was just like, "This is stressing me out too much." Or so I was like, "I need to downsize on my stick insects for a bit."
I had an equestrian friend that I made through TikTok, and her son got inspired by my zoo and was like, "Oh, we're going out to get him some stick insects." And I just laughed, and I was like, "How many have you got?" And she's like, "We've got about 5." And I'd laughed again. And then, like, literally, it must have been a month later, she was like, "We've got babies everywhere." And I was like, "Ha, ha, ha, ha. Told you."
That's what happens. So you just start finding them in random places. You're like, where the hell does this come from? So, like, what the hell's going on? So,
I had the joys. My jumping spider, I got it from Spider Shop, and they messed up the labeling because I only like, if I can, get in captive bred, and they accidentally sent me a wild caught, and she was gravid. And I just kept finding baby spiders everywhere. And I was like, what's going on? And they were all just like escaping through the mesh.
Yeah.
I was like, I've got 200 babies just free roaming my house.
A whole bunch of jumping spiders, at least. Yeah. I've certainly done that before in the past. I'd like just probably the first jumping spider I had, which is way before they became popular.
Yeah.
Like, way before, years and years and years ago. And that was, wild caught gravid female. And the shed I had was had about 200 odd, jumping spiders loose.
They just keep going as well. She's had, I think, 4 egg sacs since I've had her. And I'm like, when are you going to finish? Are we going to wrap it up now, please?
I don't know, sensational. So, John, he's over in Norway, very much he loves his scorpion, so he's asked, what species of scorpion do you have?
I've just got basic Asian forest scorpion and desert hairy scorpion, which I've got cohabbing with blue feigning death beetles as well, which is quite a nice cohab to have. They're interesting to watch.
I've seen that's become a bit of a trend with both those species. And obviously now even buy them together now as well. I think as a little package deal. I've got both species, but I keep them separately myself. So that's purely because I'm trying to breed their feigning beetles. I get larvae, but that's about as far as it gets so far for me. But with a few people to do go get them free pupation if we can.
Yeah.
A few people have done it, but not many people in the UK have done it as of yet. Hey, Alice.
I'm just putting Snake away because my cat's come into the room. You can say hello, sweetie. There we go. Say hi. Say hello. No, you're done. Okay.
These things are actually things that's safe to feed to reptiles. Depends on the sick insect and what they've been fed on, pretty much. Things like your Indian sick insect, they're safe as long as they've been fed on bramble. So if they've been fed on ivy, I wouldn't. So you want to make sure any sick insect they're thinking of feeding out to anything. One doesn't spray anything itself, and make sure it hasn't been fed on anything toxic. Because we do use sick insects in zoos as food, not as regular food, but as occasional feeds. So we keep our numbers down sometimes. Give it just the way it is. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to give them out to any, to private homes. Really, they can't be seen to go into sort of the pet trade.
Yeah.
And most of us all have the same species, so we don't. It's always like constantly like thousands of Eurocantha calcarata available on the list, and we're all like, well, we've got them more. We don't really want them anymore, or whatever. So they get used a lot as a food source sometimes. You end up with so many of them.
That's another one I'm trying to persuade my other half for, is a skink, so I can keep on top of my giant snail population.
Yeah. So, Leah's saying that you haven't noticed my free roaming tarantula.
Oh, is it the one on the wall?
Yeah.
That's really cool. Is it just like a toy?
It's literally a garden ornament.
Oh, is it?
It's cast iron.
Oh, that's cool.
It gets a lot of people. Often do get some every now and then. Like they'll be coming in a video, be like, "I've been saying for what? There seems to be a tarantula on your wall, but it doesn't move." I was like, "Yeah, because it's not real. It's an ornament." But a lot of people actually do think sometimes that I've got one just loose or a really well trained one. That's insane.
I love that. That's really sweet.
I mean, I have a big one on my front door as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic.
So, and so, but yeah, sometimes people are like, sometimes we'll be staring at my videos for ages, and be like, there's always that spider in the same place. In the same place. What the hell? What's going on? So,
I was telling my new work colleagues at my old job when I was at Millets, I used to take tarantula molts in and hide them about the place to freak, because I had especially one colleague that really didn't like spiders. So it's just like,
we've probably all done that at times with tarantula molts, just because they do look so much just like it's still the spider.
yeah.
To go and I will get told sometimes if I'm molts at work, every now and then I'm like, oh, there's 2 spiders in there. And I'm like, no, that's a molt thing. Or like, oh, one's molted. Saying that there's 2, there's not 2 in it.
One of my first educational videos I did on TikTok was actually sex and molt for a tarantula. I got death threats from kids. They were messaging me like, how dare you kill that tarantula? I'm like, it's not dead, it's alive. It's a molt. It was insane. My video got removed. It must have been 3 times it got removed because people kept reporting me. I was like, it's not a real tarantula, it's a molt. Please, guys, I've said in this thing.
Yeah. Hey, Jim. That's I wouldn't have thought. Yeah, that they've been like complaining that much about a molt, but
that had to show them the actual spider to prove that it was still alive. I was like, look, there he is. He's still alive. It's fine. You're okay. And they're like, it's not the same spider. It's like, it's the same spider.
The thing that baffles me is that then, you've got people complaining about that, which there's nothing to complain about because you're showing a molt and it's purely a molt. It's a natural process. Yeah, you go on, on any social media platform, and there's people putting in, live mice sitting with snakes or with frogs or whatever to eat and stuff, and that's fine.
Yeah. Or when they're using live tarantulas to put on their friend free come out, and then the tarantula gets flung across the room, and they're like, "Oh, that's funny." It's like, really, really?
Yeah. That's it. Or all those sorts of things. It's like, well, hang on a minute. How is that fine? But this, which is not harming anything whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, and you've got a problem with this, but this thing, which to all intents and purposes, a lot of it is animal cruelty.
Yeah,
is actually fine, and it just makes no sense whatsoever.
I've been getting a lot of recent TikTok attacks as well to do with just keeping exotics and my horse in general. All of them should be released into the wild.
Yeah.
I'm getting it constantly at the moment. I'm like, please just give up a little bit, please. I don't want to repeat myself.
I just think you end up finding that constantly repeating yourself on the same subject matter all the time, and and like the a lot of these you've just released them, especially here in the UK, they're not going to survive.
Oh God, no. It's heartbreaking the amount of people dumping them at the minute. Really.
Yeah. Well, and there is like with a lot of the inverts, actually, some of them are classed as pest species in their country of origin that are being sprayed with all sorts of pesticides and stuff to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So, like, that's, where some of them, if I buy certain things out of wild caught and stuff, well, actually, this potentially would have been killed by pesticides.
Yeah.
And not been, potted up and shipped over, kind of thing. Which one's better?
I like to think ourselves, who are quite passionate about our husbandry, they live quite a bougie life, really.
Oh yeah, much better than the keeper.
God, yeah.
Which is how it should be. Kind of thing like, oh, your house has got to be immaculate. Got to be this and the other. My place, substrate everywhere. Bags of substrate and cork all over the place and stuff. Your house is going to be nice. You're going to have a nice place. So
I did a video of me like preparing my animals' food with all these fresh fruits and veggies and like really fancy, and then I gave myself a crisp butty, and I was like, and that's what I'm eating.
But it is the way. It is the way. When you go shopping down the supermarket and buying all these things, like, oh, someone's even like, nah, that's just for my cockroaches.
That's just to gut feed the food for the animals.
Yeah, the live feeds eat better than that. So that's definitely a thing. So and like it surprises me. Like again, we're doing like the displays and stuff, and like with things like the fruit beetles and stuff. Like parents point like put figs in and stuff, and they're like, "You go and buy figs for beetles." I'm like, "Yeah, 'cause I like them." They're like, I like them too, but I can't afford them for myself, so I can I can afford them for the animals. And I'm like, what?
It's like I keep joking. My horse has just seen the dentist. I'm like, I split my tooth like during COVID. I had it filled, and the dentist were like, "We'll contact you when we're ready to see you again." And I've not heard back. And I'm like, "Well, it's a good job because like the horse has just had the dentist, so I can't afford to go."
Yeah. Horse dental work is not cheap. Not cheap at all.
He's got physio, chiro, dentist, all sorts, and I'm just like here with back like, oh.
Yep, definitely the way. But that is a mark of, my called true animal keeper and true animal lover, of that the animals always come first, and you
Yeah,
always come second.
they're my babies. It's like
would rather them have everything and me, and us go without stuff, and you have this, and I can do without this cup of coffee, or do without this whatever. I don't have to go out to the pub this weekend because you need to have this kind of thing, and that's what sometimes some people don't often get.
Yeah, and they're usually the animals that end up getting rehomed, is the people that wouldn't make those sacrifices for their animals.
That's it, exactly. There's normally people just with like the odd animal, just one animal or whatever, and then they're like, "Oh no, this is too much hard work and stuff." And when and then start, obviously with the rises in the price rises and everything at the moment, and so the price of energy and stuff, when they start blaming that, they're one bearded dragon Viv, a lot of these costume. I think it was snakes and ladders. I think Chaz said that was done like a breakdown and stuff, and it was all like actually cost more to boil your kettle 6 times a day.
Yeah, he's got a member of staff that I worked with at that rescue actually, and she left to go work there, and she sent me across all those. I was like, "Oh, that's amazing! I'm going to start showing that to people." Because I get messages. It must be at least 5 messages a week. People like, "Oh, can you take this in for me? Because I can't afford to keep it." And I'll break down the cost for them. And they're like, "Oh, so it's not that's costing the fortune." I'm like, "No, it's not."
No. Like that's it. It's like leaving your TV on standby can cost more.
Yeah.
Honestly, than running a Viv.
Yeah.
So can I think about that sort of thing? I've got no life, fuck animals. Brother's going to actually now have friends and stuff. It's fantastic, Leah.
Completely.
It really is.
The reptile community online is absolutely amazing. It is really lovely. I'm yet to meet many people in person, because I always pass people during shows. They all come at different times, because I go like straight in before the doors open properly, because I'm an anxious wreck with too many people, so I like to get in and get out. So I tend to pass actually meeting people, but the online community that I've met so far is absolutely amazing. It's fantastic and so supportive as well.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you found the good side of the online community, because there are some absolute venom out there sometimes. Oh. Like some of it is some reptile groups are like okay.
Oh, okay, I miss all that, thankfully.
I've been banned from bearded dragon groups for daring to put substrate in with my bearded dragons and stuff. Like, seriously, come on.
Don't get me started on substrates. I will rant for hours about substrates.
So it's like, it's sort of like, I normally find that the smaller groups are the better groups often. So because when they get big is when you get the keyboard Google experts that and then like have either not ever kept an animal or just got and they've heard one thing like, oh my god, sand causes impaction in bearded dragons, and you're like, here we go. Sort of thing, and you're like, right, here it is. It doesn't. Life is
I have met one of those people in a Facebook group where they were going on about, I think it was to do with bearded dragons, about substrates. They were pulling someone down for putting up a bioactive enclosure. So I just stated about the usual, if your husbandry's on point and everything's all right, substrate cause no issues. And then he starts saying, well, you mustn't be a really good keeper then, you're neglecting your animals. And I was just like, I was like, I like to think I keep up to date with things as well as I can do.
Hey, Jackie. And sometimes they're literally, they've had one thing, and it's that constant repeat of information that gets changed slightly as it goes on and stuff, and people don't realise that, if your animal's got impacted on something, whether it be substrate, it could be your live feed.
Yeah.
And stuff that, could be, salad items. All of it can impact an animal just as much. And so it's just as likely. And so it's actually the secondary thing, and there's actually something else that's, going on, and stuff, whether it be your heating, humidity, light levels and stuff that isn't right.
Yeah.
That caused our, dietary deficiency and stuff. But, the things these people argue with everyone. I was at a conference last year, and the beardy vet was there, Dr. Jonathan Howard, and he studied them in the wild.
Yeah.
And so when people were arguing over him, trying to argue with him, and so online, because he was like, here's a wild bearded dragon. Look what it's on. It's on sand. Kind of thing.
Oh, shock horror.
And they're like, yeah, but that's different sand. You need, have you tested this? And so like, fine. He took a sample of sand and sent it off to be tested. Came out like, look, it's caught sand. Look, it's essentially sand. Sort of thing. That is what they are living on in the wild. Here it is. And even then they're like, oh no, but they don't, they'll get impacted on this. It's like, this is the wild.
Are you going to go around and tell every bearded dragon you can't sleep on?
And then when people start arguing that they don't climb, it's all like, here's a bearded dragon 6 foot high up in a tree. This is where I find them.
Yeah.
So hardly ever see them on the floor.
It's like people argue that royals are terrestrial, but it's like Athena, she loves climbing. That's one of the reasons I want to upgrade, get taller as well for her, because she does utilize space.
That's it, and that's something I've seen. Jim was watching. He was on last week. Jamie of Norwich Reptile Shed. Both of those have 6 foot tall raw python enclosures.
Oh wow! That's
amazing. I know, and Jamie was doing his and put out there and stuff. It was something like, that's too big, that's too tall. They'll never use it. And so it's all right. I've been there now, getting on for a year, and the thing he said to me that he's not once seen them on the floor.
Yeah.
He put multiple basking areas, put one on ground level as well as one up high. So I've got that choice of option. He's an ex-zookeeper, so he knows the resources and stuff. He essentially made a zoo enclosure for him in his outbuilding and stuff. And life planted. He's got millipedes that I bred in there. And stuff.
Fantastic!
But people are going like, "This is horrible. You're neglecting your raw pythons by doing this and stuff." And it's like, no, I'm not. So, and Jim had done last week the fact that where they're going out and seeing sometimes like in Ghana and stuff, it's where it's been forested, and it's like they've done a burrow there, but there used to be a forest there.
Yeah.
If you go into the forest where there's still raw pythons, they're up in the trees.
Yes. Yeah.
Plenty of scientific papers on it nowadays that kind of goes, they like to climb.
People, I think, especially if they're going to a pet shop and they're telling them, oh, like this is all you need, 4x2x2, sometimes not even that. And you just need heat and you just don't need that, and just keep them on paper towel. And they take that as literal. They're like, they're the professionals. And it's like, no.
And look, because, it also comes from, again, social media of some of the real big breeders out there, whether it be in the UK or US or wherever, that do the rack style keeping just for breeding and keep costs down as much as possible. And we'll go, oh, that's how you keep them. That's the only way to keep them. That's the pinnacle of keeping. And it's sort of like, no, it's not. And when I go, well, this raw python doesn't do anything. It's like, no, because it doesn't have anything to do.
Yeah.
It's living in a drawer all its life and only being pulled out once a week to be fed or whatever. That's its excitement.
Yeah. Yeah, if you give them the resources and just give them enough places to go to feel safe, they'll utilize it. She
Yeah.
doesn't. There's not a part of her enclosure that she doesn't use, and that's why I was like, I want to get something bigger for her, a lot bigger, because we're converting the whole of behind here. We're actually making a massive L-shaped corner unit to go around. So it's for Lilith, my boa, to go into as well when she gets a bit bigger. But basically, we're going to have Ina's, then Lilith's on top, and we're hoping between 6 and 8 foot by 3 foot for Athena, 8 foot by 3 by 4, I think it was, for Lilith, if not bigger. We're still measuring it out, and then we're going to have like a corner section for all the darts and frogs and stuff, and then a section for all the inverts, and it's going to be so everything slots in and looks nice and neat.
That sounds really, really cool.
We're still drawing out the plans at the moment, because it's before I got Lilith, I was like, I want her to have a way above standard enclosure. So if I can get the biggest I can get it, then I want to go for that. But again, it's space dependent.
Yeah, and it always is, and it's one of those things that I think everyone says, no matter how big they go, enclosure wise, it wasn't like, oh, I really wish I could have done it bigger.
If I had my dream unit, they'd all be in massive zoo style enclosures, but because I'm in a little rental house, I'm like, I've got to try and utilize this as best possible. I'm really good at Tetris, but I'm running out of space.
Oh, good luck with that, Rose. Rose is off to wrestle his sulcata into his bed. Gecko eggs. Good luck with wrestling a sulcata, especially if it's a large one. Because those things they're quite stubborn, especially if they're a large male, and they're very, 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 very stubborn.
We once lost our boss's sulcata accidentally. We found it. Well, I found it. Someone else lost it, one of the employees. I was up looking after the dart frogs, and she's like, I've lost his sulcata tortoise. I don't know where it's gone. And I was like, oh God, I'm going to be in trouble if we don't find that. Let's go look for it. I was searching for hours and heard dunk, dunk, dunk. They had this African style mask that they gotten off a holiday. It had fallen on top of the tortoise, and he jammed himself behind a unit. And then he came up wandering with this African mask on him, and I was like,
found it. That must have been a sight.
It was hilarious. But he would quite often come into the dart frog room and just like start headbutting me, and I was like, what are you wanting? But it's stuff like that I absolutely loved. It was just like those interactions with the animals and just watching how they behave and react to things. I love it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we used to have Venomtech and hornbills, and the male would sometimes pick up pieces of grass to feed to the tortoises. It's tough because he was so fast. We ended up sending him up to Fife Zoo, but he would some interact and sit there like he'd be so intrigued by the tortoises eating. So especially if they're fed inside, so they'd pick up blades of grass or or like a dandelion flower to hold for them to eat.
That is so sweet. Oh.
So it was like, that was cool. But yeah, the hornbills and I up in the Fife Zoo up in Scotland.
Oh, if I'm up, because that's actually close to where I'm from, and if I'm up visiting my mum, I might pop in and have a look.
I think it's somewhere I need to go, because I think the people that run Fife Zoo actually used to volunteer here.
Oh wow!
And then they took it over after it had been closed down, and they took over and sort of rebuilt it and stuff and reopened it. And then our pair of Venomtech and hornbills end up going, which is Zazu and Sahara and stuff. I think they're in the like walk through Avery up there now.
Oh, lovely. Oh, definitely. I love big aviaries and that, so I'll definitely make sure to pop in next time I'm up in Scotland, because I'll take the kids as well. My brother and sister, not my own kids. The only kids I've got are animals, and it's staying that way. But yeah, I take my little brother as well. He's seeming to drift towards animals. So I'm like, we'll make a zoologist out of you. Come on.
Yeah.
We've
So,
we
as I
took.
did get stuff from Seas, but you'll have to watch videos to find out what I got from Seas. Only people that are at Seas know. I think exactly what. Some people know exactly what I got. Some people don't.
You've got more patience than me. When I come home with stuff, I'm like, look what I got.
Oh, sometimes I just go, you know what? Screw it, I'm going to show people these things.
I just get too excited.
I mean, most of the stuff I've got, two of the species are just, they're tiny at the moment. So even if I was to show you, you ain't going to see them.
Yeah.
One of the things I got, actually, I've already got anyway. So it's just new bloodlines for something else. So just got some more metallic emerald cockroaches to just go in, just to start up a new colony. Or I'll then have 2 colonies of them. So it's just I hope just to prevent mine from imploding, sort of thing. Just because I haven't had any new blood going to them for a while. And then new species. So I think it's only 3 new species. No, 4 new species. But yeah, 2 of them are very, very small things. But actually, one of them it was the first time that they were available in the UK. And stuff, and from captive bred, and they're captive bred stock ones as well, and stuff. And the other one, I believe, is captive bred, and not the first time available, but very few people have it within the UK, and I was gifted them.
Ooh.
And stuff as part of sort of projects with people, and then some other bits. Leah knows what I got. So Diana knows I got cork bark from Seas. They get cork, so gotta make sure I secured a bag of cork for her as well. So being a trader, so in there from the start. So Diana was sort of like, can you have a bag of cork before it sells out? Because Spider Shop, if you ever go to show you inventories where Spider Shop are, they normally do cork bark very, very cheap. So you get a big bag for like £6.
Love Spider Shop. A lot of my inverts have been from them. They're fantastic.
But they actually took a while for them to sell out of it this time, or yesterday, because they take a big old cage of it, and just have a cage there of it, and like at their own shows, it's gone within like 5 minutes of it being open.
God, that's insane.
People just know, it's one of those things you're always going to need cork bark at some point, so it's just sort of like, bang, get it while it's cheap.
I'm after a big tube from a parrot because I love chewing cork bark. So I was like, I can have a tube for them to play in, and they can chew on it as well. It's safe. So I'll have a look at the ant show thing on Sheffield. I've got cat hair in my mouth. Sorry.
Probably so. So I've forgotten who's on the trade list. I know I am. I know Unusual Pets is going to be there. Trade, and she does jewelry made out of, with like invert parts into jewelry and stuff. And stuff. And then Ellie, who does it with her, Binding Crafts, does like draw prints and stuff of drawings that's done and things, as well as they do like various cockroaches and stuff as well so they'll be there. I know Spar Spiders is going to be there, but they'll just be Drowns. They're really good for their spiders.
Yeah.
Really good. So I'm trying to think of who's going to be there that might have cork, but maybe Aquatica, maybe. I think they're on the list. I don't think anyone like Buzzard is on the list. Or Gus McCrary, who normally would have cork. And so, but
I think Chris from Tarantula Room's going, I think.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, Tarantula Room is. So he may have some cork.
Yeah. If not a message him, he's just down the road from me.
And so, Chris is good.
He's lovely. So,
he likes to cause himself a ruckus every now and then on social media, which is hilarious. But so where people don't understand the European mentality of keeping things.
Yeah.
I know he got a bit of slack for one of his pinch grab videos that he done. And some people were like, "Oh my god, how dare you do this?" And like, Yeah, it's how it's done in Poland and Germany and stuff, and all these places. It's what happens when you deal with a lot of spiders. I don't do it personally because I don't have enough to do it. I've never done it. But he deals with hundreds of them every day.
Yeah, God.
Yes, he's going to just pinch grab it and move it across.
The
Plus,
first time
good.
I remember being taught how to do a pinch grab and a transfer was proper. I'm like, I think I'd rather just coax it into a tub.
Yeah.
I don't want to hurt
it. That's it. So yeah. So yeah, we were just saying about TSS doing good deals on cork bark and stuff, which they absolutely. Well, I didn't. That's the only thing I got from them actually. Yes, it was just cork bark. So I've got to see them every month. So I normally know what they got anyway. So yeah. So you're going to the Sheffield show. Are there other shows you're planning on attending this year?
Northern Invert. I'll probably go to the entomology show that's down Midlands way.
Yep.
Because we like going to that one as well. And I'm hoping to go to one of the. I keep calling it Donny show. It's not Donny anymore.
That was Milton Keynes.
It's Milton Keynes. It's gone all the way down there. That's why I can only go to one this year. But it's easier for a lot of people. I get it. But I'm just kind of like, oh, it's too far.
When I saw the announcement, because I was like, oh, it's only an hour from me. It's like, oh my god, I can have a lay-in. I'm like, we're gonna have a lay-in now for the show.
You were in the situation I was in. It was an hour away from me, so I was like, oh, this is bliss. And then it's moved. I'm like, no, come back.
So
I didn't like the Manchester venue, but
the Manchester venue wasn't great. Donny was fantastic.
Doncaster,
fantastic venue, and they unfortunately, for unfortunate reasons, couldn't hold in Doncaster anymore. And I think, the Manchester venue, it was a case of I think the venue knew that they were desperate for somewhere to host it, and the venue just didn't care.
Yeah.
Pretty much all Australians had issues with the Manchester venue. It walked in like, the floor's sticky, lovely.
Oh yeah, you walk in like.
this is lovely, and it was dark, and like, wow, this has gone downhill.
Dodgy dealers in the car park as well. Like,
I heard about that one and stuff. It was so like, what the hell's going on? And stuff. It was like,
because
the toilets weren't clean from the word go. Even like the start of the day, they weren't clean. When we were rocking up at like 7 a.m, they hadn't been cleaned from the night before. And stuff. I'm like, okay. So yeah, really glad that the Milton Keynes venue looks like it's going to be at least clean. Stuff and a much better venue. I mean, I don't think Marshall Lamps would put their name to a venue if it's not going to be good.
No, yeah. No, it's I just think it might be a hotel job for us this time rather than just nipping down the road.
Yeah, the Manchester one became a hotel job for us as well. Because it was a good, like, 3.5 hour sort of drive up and back sort of thing. It was a bit much potentially in one day.
Mind you, if I plan it right, because my in-laws are midpoint, so we could stay overnight with the in-laws and then might work. Can we camp up the farm, please? That's it. Last IHS show I went to, I was looking for six-eyed sand spider because I thought it'd be great for the toxicology talks. Have you heard about them going on to DWA?
There's a lot of no one is really too sure whether they are. So places like Venomtech, they treat them as DWAs.
Yeah.
But they're not DWA. There's something that comes up every now and then, all the time, whether they should or shouldn't be. And it's only really the only people that really know are the people that are deciding. Really, because there's always things that come out whether how toxic actually is their venom and stuff. Because they were, because at one point it was some species within the genus, but then got revised and taken out the genus that were far more dangerous, not
Yeah.
far more dangerous toxins and stuff in venom, and that Sicarius perhaps weren't anywhere near as toxic. Nowadays, some people are saying that actually they are still just as toxic and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's kind of up in the air.
Yeah, so is it Tony from Venomous Visions?
Sorry?
Is it Tony from...
Yeah, Tony Webb, yeah.
I was speaking to him because I said, I'm after it because I'd like to take it in for a toxicology lecture. And he mentioned about it. And then I was like, I'll do a bit of research into that. And I couldn't find anything on it. So I was like, is it or isn't it? I don't know. Can I still get one? Can I not get
one? In some ways, I'd be surprised if they do go on DWA, because how are you going to know who's got one and who hasn't?
Yeah.
Sort of thing
I was like, it's a very small creature to...
And yeah, to really get that one, you've got to be really, 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 really careless.
Yeah.
I kept him years ago. Philip Fish, if he's still in chat, he keeps them. He's got 9 of them, I think.
Yeah.
9 Sicarius. He does keeps DWA. He's got spiders as well. He's got a DWA license.
Oh wow.
So, for some of his spiders. So, but they can't climb up smooth surfaces unless you got like static on it, and it's then got but when I kept them, they were they were fine. I wouldn't even call them like aggressive. Oh yeah, Leah's got one as well.
Okay.
Stuff. They were just quite cute really, because all they done was cover themselves up with sand.
Yeah, I just think they're the silliest little creature for potentially being very potent.
Yeah, well, the thing is that they're kind of I've got centipedes, and some of the centipedes are probably just as potent. Kind of
yeah,
thing.
That's another one I'm wanting for the toxicology talks is centipede. I'm trying to convince my other half of that one because he's unsure about centipedes. He loves the look of them, but
they're one of those ones that even a lot of invert people are like, "Oh, not sure about centipedes."
Mind you, I seem to find my leech tends to put off a lot of invert people as well.
Yeah.
Because of the feeding method.
Yeah. I know. Well, when I had a leech years ago, because I'm guessing you probably got that of Steve's Animal Art, because he's a guy who normally sells leeches.
Yeah.
So I had one off him, years ago, and stuff, and because so most people are like, oh yeah, we'll feed on myself. So I never fed on myself. I used to give it I used to get heart bits of heart and stuff for it. So I would feed on the heart.
I might do that next because I ended up, because I'm allergic to certain species of mosquitoes, it actually bit me next to my leech bite and it flared up and it went really nasty after that. But it was healing fine, but until that mosquito bit me, and then it just it's swollen proper off my arm. I was like, oh, that's nasty. But don't know if the mosquito was drawn to the fact that I'd been bitten by something there. But
yeah, so I don't know. And I know. I think what was Bristol Zoo, and I don't know if they still have leeches at the moment, but. The British medicinal leech are working with that one. For a while, they would actually just go to the carnivore section and literally get a load of blood from the horse meat and stuff and put it across the skin. Well, the thing is, fantastic because all you have to do is feed them once every 6 months or so.
Yeah, that's not so bad. That's why I'm kind of still in an hour. Do I continue feeding myself or do I move on to a different method? Because I'm like, I can maybe do it every 6 months. Maybe.
So, Harry, the guy's Steve's Animal Art who sells leeches. He goes to a few shows. He's always got some interesting bits on his tables. Often as does Steve.
I thought it was funny because when I got Stoker, my leech that I've currently got, I walked past and you're like, I've seen you every show. Walk past this table and I'm in R. Are you going to get one yet? And I was like, okay.
Yeah, he's got that way. He's like, you want one, don't you? Like,
yeah.
Oh, now how about this?
And I got home and I was like, I've been researching these for years, but now I'm kind of like, what I've got myself into.
What do I do now?
How do I go about feeding it?
Yeah,
I know, but it's overwhelming.
Go look. Yeah, Harry. Yeah, long grey hair, big old beard as well. That's Steve. He's been in the game a long time.
He was lovely. He was really, really lovely. Me too.
Oh, here's another Steve who doesn't have long hair at all. Just a CW. So, that's cool. Yeah, good. Yeah. Every show you've been to, I've already been there, and then I found out you've been there afterwards. I'm like,
sorry. I literally, I get there that early that I'm near the front of the queue for the members. So I just slip in, grab. I know what I want, so I just aim for those tables, grab what I want, and go. So I need to make a point of hanging fire a bit and actually meeting up with people, because I keep saying, "Oh, meet up with such and such or such and such," and I just miss them.
Yeah, good. I mean, because that's actually sometimes a big part of some of the shows for us is like just meeting up with everyone. Like yesterday, met Susan for the first time and stuff, which is fantastic, and just meeting up with people that I haven't seen, obviously, been for like maybe a month or so or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm there from the word go, normally from early in the morning or whatever, like as I'm setting up, and it's like because if it gets up early, I can then look around before everyone else comes in.
Yeah.
see what's there and stuff. See if there's any particular bargains, and so maybe. I see Steve's still in Kent. Hi, Steve. Watching movies with his niece and nephew. Nice one. Harry, I don't know of any website for Steve. I don't think he does.
I couldn't find one because I was like, should I get a second? But I couldn't find a website.
Yeah,
he's got
because he just turns up. The shows he's at, he just turns up with his bag of goodies, and that's it's like, and then he's off again. Like, okay. I might have said truth. He does say he's going for the social side, but still come back with more than he planned. But I think is that for me, yeah. Although I work with animals and I work with animal people, they just get bored of me chatting inverts all the time or reptiles all the time or whatever. But then go to a reptile and invert show, and that's all anyone talks about, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
You geek out with everyone about stuff.
I found when you work with animal people, and it's like I'm a really expressive talker, and I'm really passionate about animals. I can talk about them all day, every day. So I find they seem to be less interested. It's like with the horses, and even with the rescue, I would be like, "Oh, it's such and such, it's such and such, and this is really amazing. Did you see this?" And they're like, "Yes, Louise, okay." And I'm like, "Why are you not excited? Be excited with me."
That's it. But yeah, you go to the shows, and by and large, most of us are like, yes, we want to see what everyone's got, we want to see what the setting up is. And so we're all like real sort of heavily into it and stuff. Obviously, even though it says shows are deadly, you spend a lot of money. Shows can be deadly for your bank accounts. That is for sure. Sometimes. As I say about like sort of not to impulse buy. Most of us, but at least when you got quite a decent collection of animals and stuff, most of the time, especially with the inverts, it's not too dissimilar to each other often.
Yeah, when you tend to be proper in the hobby like we are, you tend to have a shed full of spare enclosures as well. So like, whap that out, that'll do.
That's it. And anything and everything becomes an enclosure as well and stuff. Never chuck anything out because this may have a use sometime at some point, somewhere down the line, no matter what it is.
Like, ooh, this is a nice cookie tub. That'd make a nice enclosure. It's nice that they gave us free cookies with it.
Yeah, literally. I've definitely. I've got any in those at the moment. I certainly did do at one point. I had like scorpions and other things, and in like tubs from like Poundland or whatever that came with, biscuits or apple turnovers or whatever, and then like little muffins in like. Well, I've got 3 months in an enclosure for like £1. Nice. Yeah.
Just save you 20 quid on your enclosure.
That's it. That's it. We've always got things going around. I said that is Victoria almost came in with Tarantula Rookie's forearms. I think I must have upset Victoria yesterday because she didn't want anything to do with me yesterday. Victoria's Mark's daughter, and one of the things she likes if she likes you, she'll grab you and try and run off with you. Kind of thing. So she'll grab your arm and you just got to go with it.
You've been stolen.
Yeah, pretty much. I think you received W one show, and then yesterday was a Matt of Tarantula Rookie. Stuff was our target yesterday. It seems. Whereas, my hand, she pushed my hand away. I was like, okay. So, but they're lovely people. So, yeah, if you ever see them at a show,
I'll make sure to say hi to more people this time, I think. And if anyone, it's mirrored. I'm not used to it being mirrored. It's throwing me out. If anyone sees this logo, it's me. Say hi. So I always wear this jumper.
I think I'll see you, Jackson. So cheers for joining, man. So, any of the shows, I think it's kind of seeing a lot more nowadays. A lot more people that come to shows and saying that they do suffer with like social anxiety issues, or if they've got on the autistic spectrum and stuff, and so crowds kind of worry him and stuff, or it gets a bit overwhelming. Also, there's a bunch of Australians say said look, if you feel a bit overwhelmed, they need somewhere quiet just to come behind our tables for a little bit. Come here and stuff. I think Scott said I've been chatting with some show organisers about like seeing if there's any way you can do like a bit of a space for people to go and have a bit of a chill out if they feel they need to, kind of thing.
That would be amazing because I fall within those categories as well, and that's why I go in early. Miss everyone because I get really, really overwhelmed really easily. So something like that would be absolutely amazing.
Especially because some of the shows get very, very crowded and cramped sometimes.
And pushy as well. I find when I was going in normal time, I couldn't see anything because I'm that nervous to push through people. And I'm not a big person. I'm quite small. So I'm just like, please let me pass.
Well, literally, yesterday it was looking at Scorpions at Tim Baxter's stand, Creatures from the North, and someone else was. And someone completely pushed past us. And so I was right at the beginning, like, you got Scorpions, and then literally Tim was like answering the question, and then partway through the person just left, and we was all day like, what the hell was that? Like, talk about being rude, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, just literally push people out of the way to be like, you got Scorpions, and then before like you could even answer the question, was off. And it's like, what? And stuff. It's like, okay.
I'm so lucky because my other half, he kind of like guards me from people when I'm walking around because I'm in my own world, just like humans. There's so many people, and he's just like walking around behind me like that, guarding me. So I get protected a little bit.
So, people can always duck behind her stall. Always a safe space and stuff.
Oh, thank you.
And stuff. So, and Susan says that Leah gives the best hugs too. And Steve says that Tim was awesome showing his niece all the Scorpions and telling her all about them.
Aww.
Yeah, if you want to talk Scorpions, Tim Bax says like getting about Scorpions and it won't stop. Very bad Scorpions. I'm rightly so. Scorpions are absolutely fantastic.
They are amazing.
Nightron, cheers for joining, mate. So probably 5 to 10. So I'm conscious of time. If anyone's got any kind of last sort of questions, followers, we'll get those in. We'll probably look at sort of wrapping up around sort of 10ish. So, has anyone else got any sort of last questions? We'll put your links in the chat again, so everyone do go over and check your stuff out over on TikTok. And
thank you so much. Yeah,
So,
I was initially really nervous about doing this because I was like, oh no, what if I become really awkward? I'm just sitting there like, oh my god. But it's actually been really nice. Thank you. It's been lovely.
it's been great to have you on, and I was sort of like, I think like, I'm only ever going to have people on that are, whether I've met them or not, that I respect the content that they put out and stuff
Okay.
with their content creators. And, I haven't seen anything you put out. The stuff I've seen they've put out, I've always been like, absolutely. That's brilliant. That's, spot on, good information, to get out there to people and stuff, which is great. And then, obviously, the funner stuff, we got, was it, one of the birds snoring or something. If I can't say snores, I was like, okay, that's brilliant as well.
When I'm trying to go to sleep at night at the moment, I've got my other half because he's asthmatic. He really snores, and then both birds have started copying him. So it's like he snores, and then it's like an echo across the room, and I'm just lying there like, I'm not sleeping tonight, I guess. Yeah, fantastic.
That's what I was like, okay, that's pretty.
I was like, of all things you could learn, snoring.
Now, Steve, why do you have to ask this question, Phil? Who is your favourite supporter? Come on, Steve. You're just going to start a fight by that one. People asking that. So, you're just trying to make Terry jealous again. So, but he's a savage, Steve. So, yeah. Well, there's like no one else any questions. Or Harry's just put, I suppose I have some decent scorpions in. So yeah, they absolutely do. So does other people. Check out also Venomous Visions for decent scorpions too. Tony's really good for his scorpions. As well as also Bugnut, really good for scorpions. Do as well. One thing was something he had was it Cavimanus, the true red claw scorpion. As far as we're aware, true red claw scorpions we haven't seen in the UK hobby for years. That he found in his bug shed. So he'd bring him to the show. And Tim Baxter was like, I'll buy the lot off you. How many you guys? I've got 4, but I've stuck them in mystery boxes. I was like, you what? So I've got to buy 4 mystery boxes to get these scorpions out there because I don't know which boxes they're in. So I was like, these are super rare scorpions in the hobby that you can't get anymore. What the hell? And you stuck them in mystery boxes. Like, no. So, Bill, yeah, we do, Steve. We need to actually go. We can go to buzzing now. At least choose one that is open on a Sunday, and to break your streak of going to shops that are closed on a Sunday. Steve has a habit of choosing a shop to go to, and then goes on a Sunday and they're closed.
Check Google first.
Damn. So. But that's all good. Yeah, we was going to go to the Buzzard Reptiles the other Sunday, but they're going to be open on Sundays now. But they were closed that Sunday, so we ended up going to walk on the Wild Side Reptiles and the Classics and see what they were like instead.
Well, at least you've got variety down there. We're limited up here.
we got variety. That was within the same town as well.
Oh, that's really.
One was actually on a Wednesday. Fair enough, Steve. So. And then we popped by Fantastic Enclosures as well, and Diana. So cool things there. Guys, all I can say is thanks for joining. We'll have to have you on again at some point as well. Hopefully,
thank you.
A few of us will see you at some of the shows. So we'll certainly see you at the Sheffield show.
Yes.
And stuff. And everyone go out and if you haven't yet, go and check out Loulabelle's Jungle over on TikTok and Instagram and stuff, and give a follow and all that jazz for some awesome content on over there and stuff. And everyone, thanks for watching, and see you all again next time. All right.